Hey there, it's Stephanie Shea, Chief Astrologer for janspiller.com with your November 2023 astrological overview. November's kind of a mixed bag. It's, I'd say, a little bit calmer maybe than other months this year. It's got, I think, a really expansive energy that will encourage visioning and our ambition. And we'll probably need to streamline our efforts in order to stay productive, because I think it could be easy to get distracted by too many ideas at once. There's going to be a theme of adapting anything outdated to our current time, so updating things. And we could see new laws or rules designed to make learning or business environments more inclusive. These are some of the big picture themes coming from the outer planets. I'd say for most of the month, we're going to be supported to make some decisions regarding money or relationships. And now that our Venus has been going direct and cleared the shadow of that last Venus retrograde cycle on October 7th. So Venus is full steam ahead. And so it's a favorable time to make agreements with others as well. Mercury is going to enter the shadow phase of its next retrograde cycle on November 27th. The actual Mercury retrograde cycle, however, does not begin until next month, December 13th, and it will last until January 1st of 2024. You might be thinking, didn't we just get out of a Mercury retrograde? I know I am, but actually we haven't had a Mercury retrograde since the end of August. It went on through late August into early September, but we will be ending our year of 2023 under Mercury retrograde. Don't let that stop you this month, however. We can, even though at the end of the month we're entering that shadow phase, that's not until November 27th. We're going to have all month to move forward. So I would say solidify important plans before this date. If it's just plans that are not crucial, life-changing, you can probably still keep working on them through the shadow period of Mercury retrograde. I like to use the shadow period of these inner planet retrogrades to double check facts and details while slowly moving forward. And if anyone is new to astrology, when I'm speaking of the shadow phase of a retrograde cycle, that just means that this is entering the degree that the planet will be when it finally completes the cycle. So I know that sounds confusing, but retrograde cycles make the planets appear to move backwards from our perception here on Earth. So to give the example, of what's going to be happening with the retrograde cycle that's coming up, Mercury will be at 22 degrees of Sagittarius on November 27th, which is where it's going to end up at the end of the retrograde, because remember, Mercury is going to move, from our point of view, backwards. So the official retrograde will start December the 13th at 8 degrees, and that's Capricorn. So Sagittarius is the sign behind Capricorn. I'm giving a mini astrology lesson in this video. I felt inspired because I'm always talking about these shadow phases, and I realized there might be some viewers that are confused by that term. So that is what I always call the yellow light phase. And that's, again, if it's something majorly important, maybe don't try to push it through during the shadow. But if it's kind of something that you want to get done, you can proceed slowly and cautiously. There's going to be a theme of letting go present this month, and that will encourage us to shed anything that's no longer a good fit in our lives. And we've got this new moon in Scorpio on the 13th. I think that's going to be a really powerful time to release negative energy and invite in some cleansing, healing, and forgiving vibes into our life. We've got Mercury in Sagittarius. So it's in Scorpio through November 8th. That makes the first week of the month a really powerful time for business dealings and signing contracts. And it's best, as I said, to solidify those important agreements this month. A patient, thorough energy is going to be available as November begins, making it a really good time to map out the rest of the month. Once Mercury enters Sagittarius on the 9th, our minds might start working faster than our physical capabilities. And that's the part of the month after the 9th, I was thinking we could have trouble keeping up with our own thoughts. If we already have a definitive plan of action before Mercury enters Sagittarius, then it'll be easier to channel our energy productively. Definitely enjoy the freedom of some unscheduled time as well. That's all part of the master planning of scheduling, is when is your free time going to be on the calendar. Travel is especially supported during this time period, as well as educational pursuits or any type of mind-expanding adventures. And we will really be focusing our mind towards the end of the month. We'll need to make that a top priority because it's going to be easier to get distracted or confused, as I said, the closer we get to that Mercury retrograde that's coming on December 13th. Let's talk about Venus for a minute. Venus is going to be in Virgo as the month begins, and it will remain in this sign through November 7th. So the first week of the month is an excellent time to engage in wellness and self-care activities. We'll also be supported to create order in our home and work lives. So a bit of cleaning to clear the clutter is going to do wonders for our productivity and attitude for the rest of the month if we take care of that during the first week of November while Venus is in Virgo. Now on the 8th, Venus moves into Libra, remaining in that sign until December 4th. Venus is the planetary ruler of Libra, which means it's going to function ideally while in this sign. Venus in Libra is promising themes of beauty, love, and harmony. I think it's going to help smooth out our personal interactions. For anyone who is single and looking, I think there's definitely some good times to mingle between November 8th and December 4th. So, and also just to get some fair dealings with other people. This is for everybody. It's a great time for negotiations while Venus is in Libra. The planet Mars is going to be in Scorpio most of the month through the 23rd. This will help us to focus on our goals and use the self-discipline needed to follow through with our commitments. It's going to be more difficult to avoid doing the hard work necessary to make things happen for ourselves at this time. So those who put in the required time and effort will definitely be rewarded this month. Scorpio rules forgiveness and letting go. So the days through the 23rd are a really good time to address hidden anger or resentments and give ourselves the opportunity to feel a lot lighter by finally releasing negative feelings and focusing on just moving forward, leaving the past in the past. On the 24th, Mars moves into Sagittarius, where it will stay until January 3rd of 2024. During these days, there's definitely an optimistic energy, and that's what's going to support some of our more ambitious plans. However, it will be wise not to let our enthusiasm get the best of us, as there's an impulsive mood that kind of comes with Mars in Sagittarius, and it could cause us to bite off more than we can chew. When we're committing our time, energy, or resources, remember to stop and consider, what can we realistically offer? A good way to approach new endeavors is to allow ourselves to dream big without censorship, write down our ideas, then review them, and extract a to-do list that reflects a manageable action plan. You don't want to censor all the cool, exciting ideas from coming through, but then you come back through in a different mindset and pick out the things, maybe the low-hanging fruit. Okay, what would be an easy step to get started? What looks like it's going to need 6 months of planning or more? This type of approach can be really helpful under this astrology. And then we can avoid getting in over our heads. So we've got the new moon, as I mentioned, in Scorpio, November 13th. If you were born on or around this date, this is a big new moon for you. It's a big new year probably filled with a lot of new beginnings for you. For everybody, though, we can use the Scorpio new moon to make our wishes in the areas ruled by Scorpio. And Scorpio just happens to rule sex and soulmates, deep emotional connections, commitment, obsessions, destructive urges, self-discipline, power, debts, forgiveness, transformation, and psychology. So some of these things we're going to want to bring into our life. Some of them we will want to purge, for example, obsessions or debts. I thought it was particularly interesting that in Jan's book, New Moon Astrology, that Scorpio rules forgiveness. This comes from Jan's teachings. And even as a student of Jan's, I hadn't quite considered Scorpio always as a forgiving energy. I thought maybe they would want to hold on to feelings because they're known to feel so deeply. But then I remembered that Scorpio is always associated with letting go. And with that comes the ability to forgive. So I really liked that spin on it. And maybe if you're a Scorpio person, you will enjoy that too, because maybe Scorpios get accused of holding grudges. But I'm thinking maybe not so much. Maybe it stews for a while. And then especially when there's an event like the Scorpio New Moon, you have the opportunity to release all those feelings. And if you are a Scorpio person watching this, I'd be curious about your, experiences. You can leave a comment for me. I will wrap up this forecast with the full moon November 27th at 4 degrees of Gemini. So any Gemini babies born on or around May 25th could really be feeling this quite personally. Just have a heads up, your emotions might be stronger than usual. Anyone born on this day that the full moon is happening this year, November 27th, birthday people, just know you could be in the spotlight at some point in the coming year. When the full moon falls on your birthday, it's usually a time to step up, to gain recognition, to maybe even seek that. If you are the kind of person that likes to be behind the scenes, you might need to step up and take on a leadership role. For everybody, just knowing when the full moon is, it's so useful to plan your conversations accordingly and know that drama tends to stir up more during full moon times, and especially in a sign like Gemini, being more careful with your words so that things don't get blown out of proportion. Thinking before you speak is especially important, I think, at this Gemini new moon on the 27th. So there's a lot to work with this month. I hope you can make the most of this month's astrology, and I look forward to giving your next forecast. And until then, be safe and be well.